Well, look at the time. I'll try to keep this brief. After 28 years of peacock logos on much of what I own, it is my choice now to jump without a net into the great unknown. We were in some helicopters. What we didn't know was we were north of the invasion. We were the northernmost Americans in Iraq. We were going to drop some bridge portions across the Euphrates so the 3rd Infantry could cross on them. 2 of our 4 helicopters were hit by ground fire, including the one I was in.
No kidding.
RPG and AK-47.
What altitude were you hit at?
We were only at 100 feet doing 100 forward knots because we had these massive pieces of bridge beneath us on slings.
What happens the minute everybody realizes you've been hit?
We figure out how to land safely, and we did. We landed very quickly and hard, and we put down, and we were stuck. 4 birds in the middle of the desert, and we were north out ahead of the other Americans. As I do for the first time in my 62 years, my biggest worry is for my country. The truth is, I'm not a liberal or a conservative. I'm an institutionalist. I believe in this place, and in my love of country, I yield to no one. But the darkness on the edge of town has spread to the main roads and highways and neighborhoods. It's now at the local bar and the bowling alley, at the school board and the grocery store. And it must be acknowledged and answered for. Grown men and women who swore an oath to our Constitution, elected by their constituents, possessing the kinds of college degrees I could only dream of, have decided to join the mob and become something they are not, become something they are not, become something they are not, become something they are not. We have some idea which of our special operations teams carried this out, and it happens to be a team I flew into Baghdad with on the condition that I would never speak of what I saw on the aircraft we were on, what they were carrying, and who they were after. But all of it was shared with me. It's common when covering a war because to reveal that would be to endanger Americans, while hoping we somehow forget who they were. They've decided to burn it all down with us inside. That should scare you to no end as much as it scares an aging volunteer fireman. I have a throat cutter on my desk at 30 Rock, which is helpful in staff meetings. It just sits there. It was sent to me by a member of SEAL Team.
You say a throat cutter?
Yes, SEAL Team 6. I flew into Baghdad, invasion plus 3 days, on a blackout mission at night with elements of SEAL Team 6, and I was told not to make any eye contact with them or initiate any conversation. It was like horses in the gate right before a mission. This guy had a wristband with his human target that he was after when we landed. It was one of the members of the deck of cards, one of the leadership targets. They are amped. This is the best we have. And until he reached into my box of wheat thins, my last remaining American food, it could have been a wheat thin commercial because this hand the size of a canned ham goes in, and I lost half of my net supply of wheat thins. But then I chatted him up and admired a knife as part of his utility belt.
Right.
Darned it if that knife didn't show up at my office a couple weeks later. To my coworkers, my love and thanks, and I say again, everyone I've worked with has made me better at what I do. To my family, love and thanks doesn't begin to cover it, but now I have the time to better express it. My friends know who they are. No one's been blessed with better friends. To the guests on this broadcast, as you heard the nice man say a few minutes ago, it's always been about you. Otherwise, I'd be staring into the camera for an hour, 5 nights a week, and nobody wants to see that. You are the 11th hour and will continue to be the 11th hour. This is where I thank you, however, for being so great, for explaining these last 5 years. As a proud New Jersey native, this is where I get to say regrets. I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention. Regrets, I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention. On this broadcast last week, in an effort to honor and thank a veteran who protected me and so many others after a ground fire incident in the desert during the Iraq War invasion, I made a mistake in recalling the events of 12 years ago. It did not take long to hear from some brave men and women in the air crews who were also in that desert. I want to apologize. I said I was traveling in an aircraft that was hit by RPG fire. I was instead in a following aircraft We all landed after the ground fire incident and spent 2 harrowing nights in a sandstorm in the Iraq desert. What a ride it's been. Where else? How else was a kid like me going to meet presidents and kings and the occasional rock star? These lovely testimonials that I can never truly repay make me hyper-aware that it has been and remains a wonderful life. It's as if I'm going to wake up tomorrow morning in Bedford Falls. The reality is, though, I will wake up tomorrow in the America of the year 2021, a nation unrecognizable to those who came before us and fought to protect it, which is what you must do now. My colleagues will take it from here. I will probably find it impossible to be silent and stay away from you and lights and cameras after I experiment with relaxation and find out what I've missed and what's out there. Every weeknight for decades now, I've said some version of the same thing. Thank you for being here with us. Us, meaning the people who produce this broadcast for you. And you, well, without you, there's no us. I'll show myself out until we meet again. That is our broadcast for this Thursday night. Thank you for being here with us. And for all my colleagues at the networks of NBC News, good night. This was a bungled attempt by me to thank one special veteran and, by extension, our brave military men and women, veterans everywhere, those who have served while I did not. I hope they know they have my greatest respect and also now my apology.
You've been a gift to the country. You'll continue to be a gift to the country. I will say I thought the Dole was the only big funeral of the week. I didn't know this was going to be one, too. Brian Williams. But you save these because the eulogies will not be as good, I suspect, in the fullness of time. But you've been fantastic and are fantastic.
We watched, all of us watched as one man committed suicide. My week, 2 weeks there was not helped by the fact that I accidentally ingested some of the flood water. I became very sick with dysentery. Our hotel was overrun with gangs. I was rescued in the stairwell of a 5-star hotel in New Orleans by a young police officer.
To be on this last broadcast is so bittersweet. It was an extraordinary news day. It was kind of news day that made you want to throw something against the wall at the idea that you will not be helming this broadcast anymore. I know that that doesn't mean you won't be helming and talking us through these times, but your contributions are too many to number, especially to all of us. So on behalf of everyone that I have seen tweeting, I know Rachel pointed everyone to this moment, and to say that all of us are missing something already, even though you're still very much right there on the air, would be an understatement.
But I think brand names win. I think established, comfortable places that you know aren't going to lie to you.
This has been such a turbulent, traumatic period for all of us in the country, for all of us in journalism. We have the gray hairs to prove it, and yet this has been such an hour of calm, and that's because of the integrity and the smarts and frankly, the wit and grace that you bring to the news every night, and we're sure going to miss it.
When you look out of your hotel room window in the French Quarter and watch a man float by face down, when you see bodies that you last saw in Banda Aceh, Indonesia, and swore to yourself that you would never see in your country.
So I just want to do something, toast you, and I can't be as eloquent as some of your past Pulitzer Prize winning guests are, but the best way I know to do it is get a goblet of champagne and toast you, and what a great time I've had, and your mid-career move here. I can't wait to see what's next for Brian Williams.
Bless you for that. Thank you. All the best back to you. Have a Merry Christmas. You and the family will try to do the same. A lie to you, a lie to you, a lie to you.
Every single night you spoke to truth to power. Every single night you spoke to truth to power. Every single night you spoke to truth to power.
Become something they are not. Become something they are not. Become something they are not.